Well guys, here I am again on the Buick Encore 1.3 Ecotec Turbo 2014 model, and I am having to change the O2 sensor. It is the downflow which is under it, and they've made it a nightmare to get to for this guard shield, whatever you want to call it. Right here got 3 different bolts in it, so I managed to work my way around it so I don't have to fool with the finding 3 different tools to take it off. So I'm just having to reach plumb over here around it and get up to it, but thankfully I got it to break loose pretty easily. It wasn't as tight as I expected, so yeah, now there's nothing really to it but to go ahead and bring it on out there. You can see it right there, and just so you can kind of orient yourself, it's like back there is the catalytic converter, and then you come up towards the engine of the vehicle. You'll see this dust guard, whatever they call this bunch of junk, just a bunch of garbage in the way pretty much, if you ask me, is right here. You know, it's like a little shield of some kind. You got those plastic bolts in it that clips it in. Then you got that Torx head over there, and then down there, if you want to take the whole thing off, you've got a bolt. So you need a socket, a Torx head, and I guess, you know, flat screwdriver usually takes those those little clips out pretty easily, you know. So yeah, and I got the of course that's the sensor wrench right there. Okay, I've got it loose. I should be able to go ahead and pull this down. And as you see, it's one of the ones that's got the slit in it right there for the cord to go in, the hook up to the sensor. But this one, the downflow here, I'm taking out. I had already changed the other one, you know, recently, and then I've had to take it off and clean it because I had a problem with the engine. And yeah, I ended up having to put a new engine in because it had blew a head gasket due to overheating on my wife one day when she was in a tunnel on the interstate and couldn't get off the road, and it began to overheat on her. In my opinion, some dude at a garage somewhere messed it up on us, but you know, it is what it is. You try to trust them and then they do you wrong, but you know. And now here I am trying to reach around and find the dogged thing without having to take this old shield down off of it, whatever this plastic thing is, whatever they want to call it. But yeah, as you see, it does make it more complicated to get to that, to go around this little plastic plate rather than just go ahead and take it down. You know, if I wanted to go find all the tools and whatever else, you know, I could have done that and got to it easier. I'm sure I could have just went straight up to it, but I'm not going to take all the time to do it. I got long arms. I'll just reach around. But yeah, I've had someone tell me I needed better lighting in my videos. But guys, honestly, I am just about as real as it gets. And I don't plan to do no kind of professional type stuff. We get enough of that out of Hollywood. I got a unique channel that I'm going for just kind of a rural, real look to it. So yeah, I want to just go ahead and give you some realness here. You know, when you're under the car working on it, you do have issues with seeing very well. But that's part of the business, you know. Sorry about that. I got my finger in your way. Now, I'm not trying to be that real about it till you can't see for a finger, but, you know, as you can see, it's a nightmare to get to. Not easy to just wind it out. But it's coming. It's just taking its ever-loving time. But, of course, I should have unhooked it. I really can't tell where my plug-in is here yet. I haven't located that. So that would probably help to go ahead and locate where it plugs up at. And go ahead and unplug it. Yeah, it's right there, right up above that bar right there is the plug-in. I'm not even sure how it's made just yet, how it clips on exactly, but I do have an idea to look at the new one, because it's not up in here. I can't hardly see it, you know. There's my finger again anyway, and you can see right there where you can see the wires and the plug-ins going in right there, so I can see a clip on that side. I hope that's all it's got, because that one should be pretty easy to contend with. Oh, it shouldn't be a nightmare. Let's go ahead and jump out here, check the new part, see what we're looking at right here. We got that clip, and then, yeah, okay, that should be pretty simple. Just on this one anyway, you just push that in right there and just plug him in. Probably don't even have to do that to plug it in. You might have to, yeah, but then again, it may just go ahead and plug in, but I'll push it in to plug it in anyway. But I know you have to push it in to pull it out, of course, but I guess it's a good thing. It keeps it from coming unplugged going down the road on us. Yeah, that would really suck. Be riding along the O2 sensor come unplugged. So yeah, it's a good thing it is there. Now let's see if I can get up in here again and get to this. I hope I don't have anybody complain at me for not having a better light system, but like I said, when you're really under a vehicle, you really have issues with lighting. And that's just pretty much the way it goes. I have a light here, you know, that's pretty bright, but you know, holding that and actually doing what I need to do is not too practical. So, you know, I'm not even going to pretend I can do all that. Cool. Nice to kind of see up in here. It's the first time I've been under this part of this car. I think I might have, yeah, I've changed the oil once, so I actually was up under right behind here at the oil pan. It's not too far from here. Well, it's actually right dead in front of me, like right. Let's see, it's right there. There's my oil pan, so you can orient it, you know, it's like right there's your oil pan, and then you come right back here, you'll see the pipe, and then right up in there is where the sensor plugs in. Above that pipe there, it's right behind the oil pan, as you could see. And then your sensor is located, just come by the pipe right here. If I could get the camera over here where I can see it, yeah, if I could just get the camera on it, and then you got your sensor right, where's it at in my camera? Okay, trying to get you an angle here to see. There we go, it's right there. That's a good way to get the angle on it. It's a lot easier to see with just your eyes under here than get the camera lens exactly on it. But your sensor's there, and your plug-in is over here. So yeah, it's pretty easy to find, not a big deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and pause this because I can't hold a light, a camera, you know, and all that and take it out. But I guess you guys are plenty smart enough to know how to take out a bolt. And like I said, it wasn't as tight as I expected, where you got the extreme heat down here. I figured it'd be seized, you know, really tight, but yeah, fortunately it wasn't as tight as I was expecting. But I'm gonna go ahead and unplug the sensor, so the line that the cord that runs off of it to hook it up can actually spin freely and not just kind of like twist up, because then it wants to kind of push against you taking it out. So you want to be sure and go ahead and unplug it first, and then that way the line can just move with you twisting it out, so it don't get twisted in the line and push it back the way against you. So Yeah, I'm gonna pause it and I'll be back with you in a minute and we'll get this thing out of here. Okay, here we are, guys. Here's the old one. Yeah, as you can see, it's had its fair share of use, and it was in an engine that went bad, so it's probably a little extra fungulated there on it because of the fact that, you know, the head gasket was allowing all kinds of muckety muck through there to come down through the exhaust. So of course it's got it pretty filthy. Okay, and here's the new one, and it's all pretty and clean. Still got the cap on it. I just kind of left that on, so I made sure not to get any debris in it. And it's got the threads on it there. I definitely don't want to get debris in the threads, you know. That ain't gonna help none to do all that. So yeah, I kind of left it on purpose, but it should be pretty easy to get it off here. Yeah, I can actually do it with just one hand to pop it off. And I'll try to be sure to not touch the threads. Of course, it's got a little grease in it. Oh, I had started to get under behind the tires to put it in, but that didn't give me a good enough vantage point on it, so I ended up moving the carpet I had to lay on here up towards the front of the vehicle. So yeah, that worked out better. But like I was telling you guys a minute ago, I unhooked it, and then that allowed the cord to actually move freely, like spinning with me turning it here. So yeah, that's a must do. I'll go ahead and tell you that, you know. Yeah, you definitely would do that. But now the paperwork on the sensor pretty much instructed me to get it in, snug it up like finger tight basically, and then take the wrench and turn it a half turn to 3/4 turn. And so, you know, you don't have to over tighten it like nightmarishly tight or anything like that. Just give it like a 3/4 turn and you should be good to go, you know. That shouldn't be too hard at all to do. I'm trying to give you guys a good view here, but you know, it's not so easy to do the recording and the work all at the same time. So I'm just gonna focus on getting my wrench up there on it now, and I'll give you guys a better view here in just a minute. Got a little news bee flying around landing on me. That's not helping. Okay, I'm gonna lay you guys down here for a minute. Get my wrench up there, and I'll pick it up and try to get the cam on it as I torque it down. Maybe I could show you exactly how much I'm torquing it down, you know. Well, if I could find a way to reach up in there, I'd be alright. Like I said, I chose not to take this shield down because it's really just stupidly made. The fact that it's got 3 different type bolts to take it in and out with, or to take it down with, it just seems to be rather foolish to me. Okay. Alright, now I'm almost down on it. Alright, now I'm going to pause it again and go ahead and turn that 3/4 of a turn, and then I'll try to have the camera while I'm plugging it up. and just give you guys a look at plugging it in, and maybe I'll be able to be done with this job and help somebody out, I hope. Okay, now I got that done. I got it turned, 3/4 of a turn. There's my new plug-in, and right up there is where it goes to. See if I can zoom in on that a little bit. Maybe a flash would help. Okay, there's my plug-in. And there's my outlet. So, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, they make it a nightmare to get to it. It really shouldn't be that complicated, but these automakers really ain't worried about making it easy on us now, are they? It's like they want us to take it to a garage, but when you've been cheated 3 out of 3 times and a garage has literally tore up your dang car, that kind of makes you not ever want to trust a garage again. I thought I was getting smart the last time I did it. Okay, that's in there pretty securely. Yeah, he's in there. Okay, job done. Not too complicated. Okay. And I hope I've helped somebody to show them it's not that hard. So if you got garages like in my area, you really don't want to trust them. Like I said, I had to put an engine in the car after the 3rd time. Yeah, that was my charm, all right. Trusting a garage, I thought, well, the mainstream guys have gotten me, so I'm going to be smart about this. I'm going to go ahead and find a mom and pops that'll be more worried about reputation than some sort of commission for the mechanics or, something such as that. But, yeah, I was wrong. Took my car to get the radiator emptied. Yeah, and there's all the tools I needed to do the entire job. Just the one socket wrench. But I took it to mom and pops instead of a mainstream like franchise owned type garage, and they ended up doing me worse than the franchise garage. I won't say any names because I don't want sued. I don't have any proof of how they really screwed me over, but they did. They loosened the oil pan bolts on my daughter's Cavalier, caused it to leak oil, and it never used it, so we didn't keep a check on it. So I had checked it one time for her, and then she was riding it not thinking nothing of it, and about a week after I checked it last, it had run out at a pace that she didn't realize it, and got to her boyfriend's one night, and she calls me and says, "Dad, my car won't start," and my boyfriend's dad said it's out of oil. I was like, what? It never used oil. What in the world? And yeah, then I took this same Buick Encore right here to a garage where it was warrantied at, and I had already checked it out, and all it really needed was one plug, and it went from needing one plug to needing a coil pack. Well, the distributor strip, it's called. They just change it up just to make it complicated, in my opinion. But then they broke my distributor strip. They broke off the number 4. It was the plug that was fouled out. Well, it had a random cylinder misfire on it, and they broke the area that you hook the plug up to for number 4, and so then it was just a dead cylinder. And as soon as it started, you could tell immediately that the cylinder wasn't any longer randomly misfiring, it was shot. And so that made it cost way more than just a plug. And then it's the dual overhead cam, so it's got the little rubber boots, and they were tearing, so I was going to have to replace those as well, because taking them off was going to tear them up. So it would have been probably less than $30 to fix it entirely and get the random cylinder misfire out of it. And it went from that to almost $300 to buy a new distributor strip. And then the third time I took one in, on my daughter's car, I forgot to say this, they loosened the oil pan bolts, and all they were supposed to be doing was changing the radiator. At least the place I took the Buick where I bought it at, where it had the warranty, at least they were in the right area. They tore something up, that they were supposed to be fooling with. But then I took it to a mom and pop's that was pretty local to me, and they actually, I had to replace the outlet on it, the other video I have online. And when I went to replace the outlet, they actually, I had it fixed so it wasn't using coolant anymore, and I had been running water in with a little antifreeze because it was leaking, and it was summertime, so it wasn't no big issue. And then I wanted them, it got to be fall time, I had the problem fixed, and I wanted them to go ahead and empty my radiator and flush all the water out and just refill it with antifreeze for me, antifreeze only. And when they did that, they caused it to, the coolant system to leak from somewhere. I never did find it. I went through the whole system, never could find it. But then it had the leak, and I thought I had fixed it, and my wife had to go out of state to a funeral and got in that tunnel on the interstate and couldn't pull over. Car was overheating, and well, it damaged the either the head or the gasket, or both, the head gasket or the head. It's aluminum head, so it don't take a lot to warp and bow them up if it's getting too hot. So yeah, that was my 3 experiences with garages. So I tell you folks, it pays us to work on our own stuff, because I know I'm not going to tear something else up and cause me to have to pay more money in order to fix mine, But yeah, I forgot to mention to you guys, it's always a must that you unhook the negative terminal on your battery before you do anything with any sensor, any electrical, anything at all. So now I've got to, go ahead and take care of hooking that back up, all that stuff, and then that'll also go ahead and reset your computer and take the code out of the computer that it's been throwing to have your check engine light on. So yeah, you want to go ahead and do that. So that's another something I definitely don't want to not tell you guys, because they say you can mess up an electronic by plugging and unplugging. It's a possibility, not a guarantee, but it can possibly mess up an electronic part. So yeah, always remember to unplug the negative terminal on your battery before you work on any electrical component on the car. Well guys, that's another one. I hope I saved somebody a buck, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. That helps the video get out to more, to hopefully save people more money. Have a good one, guys.